You want to make high quality projects, but there's some hidden traps that could be impacting your table saw cuts. And the worst part is, most woodworkers, even the most experienced ones, don't even think about these. I realized that sometimes my cuts were off despite taking the time to properly set up my miter gauge. So I figured, let me take a look at all the different nuances involved in this process, really figure out what's going on here. And to my surprise, there were two factors that were involved that were not in the forefront of my mind. And it caused me to change how I do two things. One of them is switching from a sacrificial fence to an in block and changing up how I use my stop block. Let's say that you set up your miter gauge going through all the typical steps. There's no slop in the T-slot. It slides smoothly back and forth, front to back, but doesn't have any play side to side, doesn't wiggle around. So at this point you go, okay, I'm gonna take my square, put up to my saw blade and make sure the fence is 90 degrees to the blade. So all of this is perfect, it's dialed in, you know, this isn't the issue. But your cuts still aren't that great for some reason. Okay, well there's two objectives we need to look at. We want to get a perfect 90-degree cut, and we want to do that without getting any tear out. Now, the tear out issue and our go-to solution for that could preclude us from being able to accomplish objective number one, which is the perfect cut. A lot of seasoned woodworkers know about tear out, but real quick, for those that are a little bit newer to the hobby, tear out's whenever you cut your board and as the blade exits the workpiece, the back edge there, those wood fibers can splinter or chip away. That's tear out, and it can be devastating whenever you have that one-of-a-kind piece, and you know that you don't have a lot of opportunities to cut that perfectly. You make that cut and you get the tear out and whew, that's a bad feeling. There are some things that we can do to help prevent it. It helps to use a high quality blade that has a lot of teeth, though a lot of woodworkers will also use a sacrificial fence. Most miter gauges have slots so you can attach a piece of MDF. Now you have something that backs up against your workpiece. When the blade exits the board, it's actually going to cut through the MDF also. This helps to reduce the chance of getting those splinters. Now, a lot of this doesn't matter if you don't have your tool set up properly, you don't have your miter gauge set up properly, and you're not using the correct blade. And that's the reason why you should probably check out today's sponsor, Woodworkers Good of America. Woodworkers Good of America is your online resource for woodworking instructions, ideas, and information. I'm in awe of seeing these incredible turning projects. Now, I even bought a small lathe, but I'm not really good at it. Yet. Fortunately, Woodworkers Good of America has a ton of videos on their catalog that span from the very basics. Here's what a lathe is, here's what a tool looks like, all the way through to these beautiful projects that are just inspiring. So right now I'm binging through all the videos I can, trying to build up some confidence because that lathe's just staring at me. I was doing some research on some project ideas for incorporating stone into a project. When I was binging all these videos, they have a video on turning soapstone. Of course they do. It's Woodworkers Good of America. They have a video on everything. Now here's what's cool. As a member, you'll have access to Woodworkers Good of America's live streaming tutorials and Q&As where expert instructors will share their tips and answer questions and engage with the Woodworkers Good of America community in real time. The first 1,000 of you that are watching my video that scan the QR code or click on the link down in the video description below, you get 1 year's premium membership to Woodworkers Good of America for only $1.49. This offer is valid for new members only. Thank you to Woodworkers Good of America for sponsoring this video. Now, let me show you what I discovered about my miter gauge that's been screwing everything up. I like to make my sacrificial fence out of a piece of MDF. I want something that's stable, something that's flat, don't want to have any deviations in it. Don't use a cheap piece of plywood for this that's all bowed. That ain't gonna help you at all. Now I've got some holes drilled in mine so I can easily screw this down into my miter gauge. As I use this, the end here is gonna get chewed up. That's fine. As it does, you simply unscrew the bolts, slide it over just a little bit, screw it back down, and you're good to go. That's where I've noticed some of the issues though. Every once in a while, I may tighten one of these bolts a little bit more snug than one of them on the other end, or vice versa. And in doing that, all of a sudden my miter gauge, my surface, is a little bit off. One way or the other, it's not 90 degrees to the blade anymore. Now, what some people may say is I need to stop what I'm doing and then make sure I recalibrate this, put a square up to it, make sure it's square to the blade, all of that. I totally agree. I also don't always do that. I'm in the process, I'm making cuts. Just unloosen these things, slide it over, and keep going. I'm on a roll here. And hey, that's my fault. But I imagine I'm not alone in that. I'll try to get better at doing that if I'm using a sacrificial fence, but there's another solution that I think could solve the problem for me. Instead of putting a fence on the front of the miter gauge, I could put a block on the end of it. So I measured the thickness of my miter gauge and then I cut 3 pieces of MDF so they're a bit bigger than the miter gauge fence. You may not really need 3 pieces, it really depends on the thickness of your fence. I'm gonna glue my 3 pieces together and then let them dry. I made mine a little bit longer than what I really need to because if I'm gonna go through this whole process, I might as well make several blocks at the same time. I put the MDF up against the fence, mark the top, and then I cut it to size. Also trim both ends so they're even and cleaned of any glue squeeze out. I can use a combination square to find the thickness of my fence and transcribe that over to the piece. Then set the saw blade so it just kisses that line. Now it's just about cutting away the material to make an L shape. A dado stack would make this process much faster, but we're not cutting a whole lot here and a regular old saw blade works just fine. I wish I could give you exact dimensions on how to make this end block, but it really depends on your miter gauge and the amount of space you're gonna have. It's important to ensure that the block does not stick out past the front face of your miter gauge. Use something flat like a square or a steel ruler to confirm this. You can put it on the miter gauge, slide it back and forth, make sure that MDF is perfectly flush with the front. I'm gonna drill a hole for a bolt to go through the block and into the back of the fence. After drilling out the hole, I'll go over to the miter saw and cut the block to its final size. It doesn't need to be very long, maybe 2 or 3 inches max. Most miter gauges are made from extruded aluminum and they have some slots in the back. Now the type and location of slots may vary. Now my saw stop miter gauge has a dovetail slot. My Incra has more of a traditional T-slot. For this one I have these fancy dovetail fasteners, but regular T-bolts or nuts would work too. I'll put the bolt through the hole, screw on the dovetail nut, and then slide it into the miter gauge. Based on how far away I position my miter gauge from the blade, I'm only going to use 1 bolt and nut for this. Now I can use the actual surface of my miter gauge and still reduce tear out. Since I'm not loosening and tightening bolts over and over and over again, I have a consistent surface to butt my workpiece against and a better likelihood of getting perfect cuts. Now there's a more important issue to contend with, and that is these stop blocks, they can really suck. Let's take a look at this Craig miter gauge. Now on the surface, the stop block looks pretty good. Easily slides back and forth, you can tighten it down. It's made out of a pretty wide piece of aluminum, but check this out. Even the slightest pressure, side to side, and man, that thing deflects a lot. That is really, really bad. I'm not picking on Craig here because I've got some other miter gauges here that all have the same problem, and these things are pretty expensive. I have to be able to push my workpiece tightly against the stop block because I don't want the board to slide forward away from the block while I'm cutting. But this amount of deflection in the stop block is simply a no-go for me. My Incra miter gauge has the option of using 1 stop block or 2 that are connected with a steel dowel. This makes the stop block much stiffer with less deflection. Now, it's not perfect, it still has a little bit too much deflection for my taste, but it does help out a whole lot. Alternative is you can simply clamp your stop block on your miter gauge, like old school style, and that's perfectly fine. I just prefer not to do that. I don't want to have a bulky clamp on here. I mean, the whole point in having all of this stuff with the extruded aluminum is that I can tighten things down, and having a clamp just hanging out there, Also, I really like having the precision of some sort of micro adjustment, like on this one or my saw stop over here. I can just fine tune that stop block and shift it one way or the other, dial it in perfectly. Not as easy with this without adding something to it, but we can definitely do that if we need to. The stop block on my saw stop miter gauge is pretty bad. Actually, the deflection is absolutely horrible. I don't like it. But it has an extra feature. It has a little knob here that I can lock this thing down, and it goes from having all that deflection to 0 deflection. Perfect. The thing is I can't say they actually designed it to do this. I mean, maybe they did, but I've went through the manual, and that's not what this focuses on. Really, the reason why it has this is because you can put those little dovetail fancy nuts and they're positive stops. So if I need to move the stop block to a different place, like I'm making a cut and I go, oop, I need to cut another board at a different length. I move my stop block, I gotta move it back. What do? You can tighten down those dovetail nuts in place. Then I can simply use this big steel knob here to reposition my stop block over to that dovetail knob, screw this in, tighten it down, and now my stop block's over here. I can move it back to this other dovetail nut that's in this other spot, tighten it down, lock it back in. So basically, like, it's a registration point. Why not just keep this in the stop block though? Using the same concept, we can make the perfect stop block for any miter gauge we want. Let's do it. I cut my stop block out of a piece of 3/4 inch thick plywood. I want to add a micro adjuster, so I drilled a hole in the side of the block just deep enough to hide the head of a bolt. I drilled a second hole in the middle of the first one. That's going to be for a threaded insert. Then I drilled a third hole. That's for the actual diameter of the bolt. At the table saw, I cut a slot that will allow me to insert a nut that will help lock the adjustment bolt in position. I'll likely swap out the nut for an old knob later on, but I didn't have one in the shop, so I'm rolling with this for now. Back at the drill press, I drilled 2 recessed holes and then 2 smaller holes in the center of those. These are going to be for the bolts that are going to connect the stop block to the miter gauge. They don't really have to be recessed, but my bolts were just a little bit too short, so this helps. Assembly's easy. I screwed the threaded insert into the hole, then screwed the bolt through the insert. Align the nut into the slot and thread it onto the bolt. I used 2 bolts with T-nuts that'll easily slide into the front slot of my miter gauge. After snugging it up, there is 0 deflection. The stop block can easily glide back and forth too. When I need to make a micro adjustment, I simply turn the bolt at the end of the block just enough, make my cut again. This stop block works great, but we wouldn't be able to do this if we had the Sacrificial board covering up the front slots of the miter gauge. That's why we had to make the end block to solve the tear out issue first. Thank you to everyone over on Patreon for supporting us and allowing us to do what we do here. You guys are amazing. Until we meet again, get in your shop and build something awesome.